Hello friends, welcome to the session on Python programming. In this session, we'll be discussing about classes in Python programming language. In this session, we will see how it is possible to execute object-oriented programming concepts by using Python programming language. We will see what is the concept of class, what is the syntax associated with the class. We will see how it is possible to write the attributes and methods associated with the class, along with some suitable example. Friends, as you know that you are viewing this session on my YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to the channel so that you can watch many other educational videos. So let us start the session with the question, what we mean by the class and object in the Python programming language. In real life, whenever we came across any entity or any item such as car, then you will find that the car is being recognized by not only its attributes, but the associated methods as well. So for example, a car doesn't have only a color, or car doesn't have only wheels, but it will also have some engine associated. It will also have the level of comfort it offers to us. So in real life, always whenever we think of an entity, then there are many things that contribute to recognize that entity. The code written in the Python can be object-based. That is, so far we have used certain code in the Python programming language, and we have seen that we can make the use of objects around our script. We can use them in expression. We can call the methods associated. A class in the Python is a device that is being used to implement the new kind of objects in the Python programming language that will support the inheritance and polymorphism. Classes in the Python are the main object-oriented programming tool. So whenever you want to achieve the object-oriented programming, which we can achieve in C++, the similar thing can be achieved in Python as well. And for that, you can make the use of class as the main tool. Class will provide a means of building the data and functionality together. As I said, in real life, most of the objects are like this, which will consist of data, and also there is some functionality associated. Object, you can say, is an instance of a class. Creating a new class will create a new type of the object, which will allow a new instance of that type. Class is basically, you can say, a kind of blueprint for creating the object. Class can also be called as an object constructor. In Python, the class mechanism adds classes with a minimum of new syntax and semantics. So the syntactic structure of the Python is always very simple. So even if you go for the object-oriented programming in Python, still also you will find that the syntactic structure remains simple. It is a mixture of the class mechanism that is being found in the C++ programming language and in Modulo 3. Python class will provide all the standard features of the object-oriented programming, such as encapsulation or polymorphism or inheritance. So let us understand how we can define a class in the Python program. Whenever you want to define a class in the Python program, then it has to be defined with the keyword class. Class followed by class name. Class name can be any valid identifier name. Then you make the use of indentation mark colon, and then you can write several statements together, which will constitute the class statements or class body. The classes can be created by the keyword class, and also the class can have the attributes, and these attributes are being called as the variables that belongs to the class. Attributes in the Python are always public. In C++, we know that we have the several access specifiers. But in Python, all the attributes are public and they can be accessed by making the use of the dot operator. So for example, if you have my class and my attribute, then it can be accessed by writing the statement my class dot my attribute. So class, as I said, is just nothing but a combination of data member, that is attributes, and the methods that are associated. So we can say that it is a kind of encapsulation where the data members and methods are clubbed together in a class. So for example, if I call a class student, then I can have a simple class attribute such as student1 and student2. And I can have a method associated. So for example, my name of the method is fun, where I will just print the names of the student. So such combination of attributes and method can be called as a class in Python. Object is just nothing but an instance of a class. So an object consists of a state. It is represented by the attributes of the object. It also reflects the properties of the object. Every object has a behavior. It is represented by the methods of the object. It also reflects the response of the object to the other objects. Every object has an identity, that it means give unique name to an object, and it will enable one object to interact with the other object. You will find that whenever we make the use of a class, then it is possible that it can make the use of a parameter called as the self parameter. The self parameter is a reference to the current instance of the class, and it is used to access variables that belongs to the class. It does not have to be named self. You can call it wherever or whatever you like, but it has to be the first parameter of the any function in the class. So when we call a method of this object as my object dot method argument, we can make the use of argument 1, argument 2. This is automatically converted by Python into a statement my class dot method my object argument 1, argument 2. So for example, if I write a small Python program consisting of a class student, where S1 is the attribute having value Mohan, S2 is another string attribute having the value Ram, and suppose fun is the method where I'm making the use of printing self.s1, self.s2. So this is a parameter which has to be used whenever you make an access to the attributes of the class. And suppose we have an object of a class student. Suppose it is DSM. DSM is equal to student. And then we can make an access to the class attributes and class objects. So we can make an access such as print dsm.s1, or we can make an access dsm.1. So one can easily find that whenever I want to make an access to the attribute s1, I need to make the use of the object variable dsm. And whenever I want to make an access to the method fun, then there also I need to make the use of the object name dsm.fun. So when this part of the program is being executed in the Python interpreter, then you will get the output such as Mohan. So dsm.s1 is just nothing but Mohan. And when you execute this method fun, then you will get the message I am a Mohan, I am a Ram. There is another method called as the init method, which is very familiar with the class, and we need to make the use of this method whenever we make the use of class in the Python program. The init method is similar to that of constructor in the C++ and Java. So we have seen in C++ that we need to make the use of the constructor in order to assign the initial values or initialization. Constructors are used to initialize the object state. Like methods, the constructor also contains a collection of statements or instructions that are executed at the time when the object is created. So whenever the object is created, then the associated constructor will also get executed. It runs as soon as the object of a class is instantiated. The method is useful to do any initialization you want to do with your object. So whenever you want to initialize the object of a class, then that initialization can be achieved through this method. And this method is being called as a constructor in Python, or it is being called as an init method. So for example, if I have a class person, then I can write the init method or constructor such as definition init self comma name, where self dot name is equal to name. And then I can write a method such as definition say hi self, and I will print the message, hello, my name is self dot name. And now I can make the use of p is equal to person, and I will pass the initialization as Nikhil, and then p dot say hi. So when this part of the program is executed in the Python interpreter, then you will get the message, hello, my name is Nikhil. It is also possible that a class can have instance variable. So there is a difference between instance variable and class variable. Instance variables are for data which are unique to each instance, and class variables are the attributes of the class and methods shared by all instances of the class. Instance variables are the variables whose value is assigned inside the constructor or method with self, whereas the class variables are the variables whose values are assigned inside the class. So for example, if I have a class student, then I can have a constructor or init method where the instance variable can be written as self.name is equal to name, self.age is equal to age. Then I can create an object s1 is equal to student Mohan, 20. Then I can access the instance variable such as s1.name or s1.age, where I will print the name and age of the object 1. I will create another object s2 is equal to student Ram, 19. And there also I can make an access to the instance variable s2.name and s2.age. So when this part of the program is executed, then on the screen I will get object 1 name Mohan, age 20, object 2 name Ram and age 19. So thank you friends for viewing the session. Hopefully you have understood what is the syntax associated of defining class in the Python. Thank you all.